alaikum. Welcome to another episode of Black Tea. Today, this week, we have our first couples guest, and I'm so excited. We have Sister Yaterah X and Brother Supreme X of Far Money Network. Sister Yaterah X is a wife, mother, dedicated MGT, and First Lady of Far Money Network. She was looking for God since the age of 9. So when she joined the nation in 2012, she was ready to quit her job to work for Muhammad. She wanted to be a final call pusher. Of course, until she found out that it wasn't her role as a sister. But she knew that financial freedom was the way and wanted to get off of the job to serve the people. She's so in love with Master Farah Muhammad and consumed with the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. But the Supreme X accepted the teachings while he was in the belly of the beast, meaning that he accepted the teachings while incarcerated. At a young age, he never wanted a job either. He saw himself owning something and he knew it would surround wealth. His wife says he's studious, a wonderful father and husband. He represents a made up mind. He goes after it and does it. End quote. Can't you tell? He was incarcerated for 10 years. 4 years later, he's married and is able to offer his family, friends, and others financial freedom through the CEO of Far Money Network. Oh, we must mention that he's the number one top paper pusher in the seventh region. Praise be to Allah. Makes sense since his wife wanted to be a final call pusher. That's really beautiful, and that it just really compliments the two of you. Together, they are dedicated Muslims in the Nation of Islam, mission minded to the heart and core. Through their business, Far Money Network, they are lifting two of the sciences that we were stripped from and that the enemy still tries to keep us out of reach from: the science of business and the science of warfare. We are honored to have you two on, so thank you again.
Yes, praise be to Allah. Thank you for having us.
Praise be to Allah. So, we have 5 different segments for Black Tea. And we usually start with the book reflection, but it doesn't require you to read it at all. We just read it and it provides us with just something to think through, and it like grounds the episode. And Naturally Beautiful is by Sister Ava Muhammad. And so, even though mostly she's talking to women, it's very relatable to men. And so, the 2 questions that I have prepared to you for you two about Naturally Beautiful, the chapter that we're reading is called Breaking the Self-Defeating Patterns. And so, how do you two break self-defeating patterns?
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
You want to take that one first, May?
All praise be to Allah. Just from what, our teachers, Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, teaches us and what he shows us an example on how to tap into, self-control in the mind. To tap into that, we have to pray. We have to fast, because fasting helps restrict. Ironically, I was telling the brother who was processing into the nation down here today, because he was telling me about how he kind of got, sidetracked and was doing some stuff. I was like, until you can strip in your will or fast, you can't really take control of your will. So to overcome what you're asking about, that stuff that hinders us, and that's like another word of procrastination. We like to procrastinate about things that we want to do. It's about, it takes prayer, it takes discipline, it takes willpower, So we have to be praying, we have to study, we have to want it. And it goes back to making our mind up. So I didn't change my life until I absolutely killed the desire for me to want to do wrong. But as long as that desire is there, then we will go and smoke, we will go and drink, we will sell drugs, we will do the stuff that, because the desire, it don't matter about we being locked up, it just a matter when that desire and the teachings of the nation applied properly will kill that desire to do negative stuff. And ironically, I'm gonna pass it to my wife out and say this: we was out with the final call today, me and 2 more brothers, and a brother told me, he was like, man, I don't need it. I was like, man, you don't want to learn about it. It got our brother, may Allah be pleased with him, out of Ghana, Jerry John Rollins on the cover. This is the latest issue. And he was like, I was like, you don't want to learn about yourself, read about yourself. This. He was like, I know myself. I'm a Moor. He's smoking a cigarette though. I said, put the cigarette down, black man. We God. You're a God. Put that down. But anyway, so it goes back to that. So it's about what we desire to do and how to kill that. The teaching kills it perfectly. It eliminates that applied when it's applied properly. So I'm pass to my wife for that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Um, Before I go, can you repeat it again so I can make sure that what I'm pulling from, I want to make sure that I'm saying what your question is again.
Yes, ma'am. How do you break self-defeating patterns?
Okay. Yes, yes, yes. One of the first thoughts that comes to my mind is what the most honorable Elijah Muhammad says in regards to, breaking habits as far as, now I don't remember if it was a drug or a cigarette addiction that was asked about him, but his response is simply, you just stop,
Right.
and that goes back to my husband's points on a made up mind. So for me, along with prayer, it I have come across, through my journey in Islam, different things where it's like, okay, I know I desire to be here, but I haven't fully arrived mentally in my mind that I have made up my mind to just do better. So prayer has definitely been that avenue for me, in my communication with Allah, asking Him to help me to rid myself of a desire that I may currently have that, I'm struggling with letting go. So for me, it all starts in the mind. Like I said, even if the desire is not 100% there to stop, but if it's something that you want to go, then like I said, praying for for the desire itself to be killed. So having that prayer and then being willing to go through, the struggle of whatever that thing is has been for me. So um, that's pretty much it for me in a nutshell. Prayer and a made up mind. That's it. That's all you really need. And of course, having the supporting people around, which is the believers, those who believe as you believe, whether that's the husband, wife, the sisterhood and the brotherhood, having that support, that's the coals keeping you hot, helping you on that journey. So the support is there. Master Muhammad gave us everything that we need. So absolutely crazy to allow.
Yes, ma'am. That's beautiful. And your answers, the two of you complement one another. Um, the minister, I was just listening to Cycles of Life before I came on here, and he was talking about how we become zero, which means nothing. In order for us to get back to one, we have to be like, a lot is the one, but we're the nothing. But in order for us to get to that 10, which doesn't really exist, you go back to one and start the cycle over, is the relationship with Allah. So what I'm
Mm.
hearing from the two of you is like, we have to make up our minds, then we have to constantly be feeding our relationship with Allah, which is through prayer, and then our support system. Because if we're around the same people we were, and those same people are
Mm.
doing what we'd want to change from, then we're gonna be in that self-defeating pattern. So praise be to Allah.
Crazy, crazy cool.
Praise be to Allah.
So the next question I have is, being that you two are on the journey of being married, and that's just my way of saying it because the minister says
I
that
love
the minister says we're not really married. So being that you two are on the journey of being married, how do you break the pattern of being self-made victims, and how do you take responsibility for making choices in life?
it. That's deep.
Say that again.
Yes.
I would.
The end part, being self-made.
Being self-made victims. So in this chapter, Sister Ava was talking about how we are self-made victims, like we just blame everything on everyone else, and she was talking about
Mm.
as an individual. But I was like, well, since today we have a couple, it's easy to blame something on your husband or your wife. So being that you two are on the journey of being married, how do you break the pattern of being the self-made victim, and how do you take responsibility for making choices in life?
Oh, that's
Oh,
so good.
go
Me,
ahead.
okay, praise be to God. I'm ready for it. That's so beautiful. Wow. I think that for me, it started with the desire. So if I reflect back to around 2014 or 15, I just remember learning about Mother Khadija Farrakhan's relationship with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and listening to him describe his wife and how he proclaimed that to a degree or to an effect she gave birth to him through the trials of his journey, and the way that she took the teachings and was able to apply it as a woman of God, as an MGT, and was able to help her husband. From studying, it looks, you can tell that it takes a lot of humility, but with that desire to have, a successful marriage, but bigger than that, understanding that this is bigger than us.
Right.
Family is the cornerstone of nation. And when we came into this thing, into the nation, that has been, that's been my driving force. It was no longer just about me, even though I knew for me, serving the people was always the goal. Just having that information about Mother Khadijah, studying her, and wanting to be like her, and wanting to help Allah to make my Black man back to his original self, to have that part in it. So along the journey, how I have to not make myself a self-made victim, I have to do a lot of self-reflecting. I have to look at, when the emotions come up about things, I have to be willing, and I am, to recognize something is going on within myself. I have to be willing to rise above emotions, which is why that self-improvement course is so important, because this is what helps me to be able to point out and analyze. And, you can't change something until you can identify what it is,
Right.
So if I haven't realized that, I have been doing these things, and how it can hinder not only our marriage, but how it can hinder the growth of the nation, then it doesn't do me any good. So having that study, having that awareness definitely helps me to keep in mind that my word, it was to Allah when I said I do. I do strive, my vows rather are to be here to help this man, to help myself, to help my nation, the children that we're bringing into this world. And, my life and my prayer, my sacrifice, my life and my death is all for Allah. So those things help to keep a humble, a humility aspect, is what you need going forward in this kind of thing. So pass it over to my husband.
All praise be to Allah. So, one thing about the teachings, and when we one thing about first, let me say that. First, one thing that we learned when you get incarcerated, that you can blame people all you want to. It's not going to open the doors and let you out. So we learned that going in and being in there behind those walls, that we are able to reflect. I can put it on, the dude snitched on me. I can put it on, hey, the police just targeting me or whatever. But what was I doing?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? What was my thoughts? And what was my activity on a day-to-day basis? So when I came to the teaching and I really took it seriously, I decided to put all of the blame on me, because that's where it belongs, right? So for my actions, so for now, I don't put the blame on nobody for something not going right, because I'm even, being in the nation, I'm not a laborer, and I don't desire to be one. And but because we're all laborers, from what the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan teach. But I don't desire to have a title, right? But I don't blame them from nothing that's not happening. I just do it. Right? Okay, well, y'all ain't doing this. Okay, I'm gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? If this not happening, okay, I'm gonna set it up. Okay, y'all don't want to be an entrepreneur. Okay, I'm gonna be an entrepreneur. I'm gonna show the freedom, justice, and equality side of it. Not pointing. That keeps away the finger pointing. You know what I'm saying? But because my wife can't get me in the hereafter. The Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan can't get me in the hereafter. The Most Honorable Muhammad can't get me in the hereafter. Only if I apply what they teach and try to line up and be the example that they have been, will I get into the hereafter. In my desire to raise the dead, or help out in the mission in the field that I feel I'm best qualified in. And that's going after the people, and that's bringing the people resources and tapping them into stuff that they not privileged to have and expose. Because when we tote this mission, it's not I have to go out there and yes, I reflect the nation, but I still reflect myself in its totality. So I have to represent what the nation stands for. The nation stands for freedom, justice, and equality, right? So I have to represent that. But if I don't have this lifestyle and I can't give the people an example of this lifestyle and help them get into this lifestyle, then am I really doing all that I can do to help the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan? So, but I can't point to, yeah, we get mad and but I can't point it, and she will let you know in the arguments that we have, you know, we might, I might debate it when it's going down, but at the end of the day, an hour later, 30 minutes later, I always come and say, it was me. It was me. You
Praise
know
be
what
to
I'm
Allah.
saying? It was me. Yeah, that's the only way it's gonna be rectified because they always say if a divorce happens, it's on the man. You know, it's on that. That's just how it is. That's what it is. It's on the FOI. If it happens, it's on you, brother. It ain't on her. Whatever she might have played a small part in it, but it's on you. So I have to always understand, and it's you have to be humble to take that blame like that. You know, even I have a daughter, and I told her, you know, not from my wife, but from another relationship, and I told her that I'm to blame for what she had to go through in her life. Told her solely, I'm to blame. So I'm never mad at you by what you doing, the route you choose. I can't blame you because I wasn't there, you know, for a nice portion of your life. The best parts of your life, I missed it being incarcerated. So whatever you decide to do, I can't blame you. You are not to blame, you know. So that's how I had to take those. So that's I always put it on me to do what I have to do. I can't blame nobody else. So that's what I can say for that.
I have to add just on things to what he just said. I thought he might have brought that up, saying about the man, the responsibility being on him and everything. And I will say that that is also that's also a factor and aspect that helps me in being humble, knowing that he's gonna at the end of the day kind of take that road.
Mm,
I have to always make sure that I'm looking in the mirror, even if it's a topic that or a subject where I feel like, and I may be right on that issue, but it's not about me being right as much as it is about us having an understanding and keeping that compassion and keeping that love there to want to have that desire to keep going through. So because he is willing to take that road, I have to, that like fortifies me in my desire to, strive just as hard to keep that humility factor and always look at myself and say, what could I have done better? How could I have approached the situation
mm.
better? What am I not seeing? So I just wanted to add that to that because that's very important.
Yeah, praise be to Allah. I'm reading, which the minister recommended we read Fascinating Womanhood. And
Hmm.
at the beginning of the book, she mentions to after you learn and start implementing these principles that the man will be so deep in love with you, and she goes more in depth in it, but she says like basically a warning: do not manipulate the man. So knowing
Hmm.
that your husband is automatically going to be like, okay, it was my fault, then you could use that every
Right.
time, but knowing that you still feel like, I need to be humble too and still reflect, and that
Right.
both of you have to self improve. That's important. Praise be to Allah.
Right.
All
To
praise be
Allah.
to Allah.
So our next, as we talk about Allah, our next segment is courting Allah God. And so we could talk about courtship, we could talk about marriage all day, but we have to constantly build our relationship on courting Allah God. And y'all have already been talking about that. So I didn't watch the full live, but I do plan to go back. But I did listen to a few minutes of it, Sister Yaterah, your live that you talked about this week. And congratulations, and you were celebrating your anniversary of being retired. So, for you, Sister Yaterah, and then I have a separate question for you, Brother Supreme. So, Sister Yaterah, what have you learned about yourself and Allah since no longer working for someone?
What have I learned about myself and Allah? He said,
Mm-hmm.
wow. That's a good question. I think what I have gained from what okay, I'm just gonna say what keeps coming to my mind. It's coming to my mind strong, so I must have to say it. It's it's that when the minister talks about faith, and the minister talks about how we are born in this world with faith. The baby pulls on the mother's breast.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing comes at first
Mm-hmm.
until it finally does come. And so when I think about this journey of being free from the job, which is a blessing, my relationship with Allah you know, has has just strengthened and has grown more. I'm finding myself hesitating a little bit with the word learned, only because I've always known in my mind since coming into the nations and since accepting the teachings that this is what Allah desires for me, number one,
Mm-hmm.
and that He is sufficient for all of my needs. So that's something that I have grown to know. I don't just believe that, I know that. So walking away, um, like I said, it strengthened because as I had faith that He would continue to sustain us and help us to continue to grow our business. I knew that, and as it happened, it was just like, wow, Allah, praise be to Allah, praise be to Allah. So as I'm searching and as I'm, going over this, what I have learned is now what's coming to my mind is as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, I can't remember what lecture it is, but it's when he's talking about my husband plays it a lot for one of our broadcasts, and he's talking about praying to the mystery God, right, and not doing anything. So I'm learning more about what it is to be God, what it is to call something into existence, to make it happen, to get up and do and see the fruition of it. So prior to becoming a network marketer, I was into, my avenue towards freedom was to make bread and sell. That was my product. And so I had to learn to grow from where I was at with my understanding of business. I had the type of mindset that we get coming up in this world, in this society, how they teach you, whether it's get a good job in education or whether it's start a brick and mortar and own a shop or something like that. That was where my mindset was at until Allah was pulling me to something bigger, and then I started saying making bread all day long is not giving me the freedom, the time freedom, the financial freedom, or the location freedom to really be free enough to do what I wanted to do. So I had to learn that, what Allah was pulling me towards, and what Allah has, I'm still learning what Allah
Mm-hmm.
has me here on this earth to do. So it's still a learning process, and the journey continues. So that's yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for sharing. So, Brother Supreme, for you, describe what it's like as a man, as a brother, as a husband to retire your wife.
Mm.
Whole praise be to Allah. That was one of the. I mean, before I had to go back before even Islam in my life that I knew of. I have a certain unique journey into the nation, but I always wanted, how we said in the streets, my wife, a main girl, to not have to work. I mean, I was an ex drug dealer, so dope pusher. So man, we never had to work. Oh, that was the desire. Like, wow, you got to work. We got this, and there. I'm gonna take care of you. That was before Islam. So Islam just solidified it. You know what I'm saying? The teachings of the Most Honorable Muhammad through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, they just put the nail in the coffin that my wife, I get married, she's not working. You know what I'm saying? Because our children not going to public school. You know, that they not going to public school. So somebody got to teach, right? And I desire to go after and live what was promised, that Master Farad Muhammad promised us. He promised us what? Luxury, money, good homes, friendship, in all walks of life. That got leverage and freedom, network marketing wrote all over it if we understand, right? Because that's what, but because the job is not going to provide. I don't care how good it is or whatever, but I need to be able to do what I need to be able to do. So retiring her, that was at the forefront. That was told to her in courtship. This is the vid and this is what it is. So, you know, so the first, not even the first year of the marriage, she worked because we had to make the transition from Birmingham to Florida. The transition had to make, so she worked, but it was always, we got to set a date, we got to get you off. This is what it is. You're gonna be at home because I wasn't working when we got together. So how is she gonna work? You know what I'm saying? It don't add up. But we had to do what we had to do, and it was one of the greatest feelings ever. And I kept telling her about the anniversary. I kept bringing it up. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, because that's the desire, that's the home. Because my desire for me getting married was for my wife to be my best friend. So when you have a best friend, you desire to be with that person all the time. You know what I'm saying? That, and nothing can, what I can go with the time that we are away is because this is something I'm choosing to do or she choosing to do. It's not that somebody telling us, oh, I got to work today. Right. I thought you was off. Oh, I got to. So no, 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 no. And our children, knowing what they did, and I didn't listen to the mouth doctor 7 times because he came to Mars 69 back in 2018 or something. And I always tell my wife about that. I said, listen, I don't see how anybody heard him teach that lecture and they children still going to public school. He obliterated. I have never, I'm talking about, because the minister ain't never taught a whole lecture on it, right? But Brother Shaheed taught a whole lecture on it. And he just, I'm talking about, I was like, what? Because our 5-year-old at the time, she was 4, she was going to a public daycare slash, preschool type of thing. And it was like, no, this got to, we got to put you in the house because she got to come out of that. You know what I'm saying? Immediately, right? So I'm saying, because, I mean, even before that, it was, but like I tell her all the time, I'm going to say that again. That lecture that brother came down there and did, where he taught solely about the public school. That's his thing. That's what he do. I said, if anybody was in there and they children went, I said, ain't no way they was supposed to, hey, are you going to school? Mom, I'm going to school. No. Dad, I'm going to school. No. You're not never going back there. You know what I'm saying? We would call them. Whatever you got there, they can have it. We would call them and let them know that you're not coming back. You know what I'm saying? We going to homeschool or we got MUI, private school, something. But that, so that was the whole main thing because it's about the children anyway. That's the future of us. So we cannot, to even quote our brother, Malcolm X, we cannot be in this fight. No conscious man or no conscious person will allow their enemy to teach their children. So that right there alone, that's that's the thing. So that's what it's all about. Even this union, us coming together, is about us creating gods to further the nation, further our family legacy, surpass us. So that's the whole reason that, brought us together in the first place, because that's what we're supposed to be coming together to do, to help bring out this world. So if we bring it in the new world and help bring in the new world and bring out this stuff that's in our mind and that we got from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the Most Honorable Muhammad, and the MACD himself, and that's, the wife can't work. That's impossible.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So, right.
All praise be to Allah.
So there was 2 things in there that I just want to point out for anybody who missed it. Sometimes we sit and we listen. It don't matter what religion you in, but we sit there, we listen to the lecture, we clap, we praise the person, and then we go do nothing. And you like, whoever was there, if their children still in public school, they were not listening or whatever they was doing. And so that is so important for whatever the subject of that lecture is, we should be implementing it to the best that we can. So praise be to Allah. And I was so happy to see your live, Sister Yaterah, and I was like, oh wow, my anniversary is coming up, and I never even thought to like celebrate that. And so mine is actually later this month, where I'm retired from working as well. So when I was listening to your live and listening to you talk, I was like, praise be to Allah. And I had a conversation with my husband about a month ago, and we try to like pause and tell each other what we appreciate. And I was telling him that I appreciate that I don't have to work anymore. And I was like, that's actually a gift.
Yeah.
And with being a sister in the Nation of Islam, we could just be like, well, I'm not supposed to work anyway, and just, not take the time to actually vocalize how we appreciate it. So praise be to Allah that you actually got on live and made it a celebratory a celebration, a moment to acknowledge. So praise be to Allah.
Well, congratulations to you.
Praise be to Allah. So that's the FOI right there.
Yes, say crazy to us. Go ahead, FOI.
Right. So the next segment is maintaining peace. So how do you two maintain peace in the marriage and contribute towards bringing peace to one another?
Who's jumping in on that one?
How do we maintain peace and bring peace to the marriage? We have to, first step, we have to keep Allah in the center, for one.
Right.
He is the author of peace. And we have to see the value in each other. So if we want to, because if we don't have peace, it'll destroy the marriage, it'll destroy the family structure and all that. So we have to do whatever we have to do to keep the peace. Whether it's she say something I don't like, I don't have to check it right then. I don't have to say nothing right then. Saying it's vice versa. If I say something she don't like or doing something, she don't have to try to critique me and help me right then, because what if I don't receive it properly at the time?
Right.
What they don't know what's going on, what I'm dealing with, because we all know that in building this new world, that the man is not more important than the woman, or the pains are different. Like the man, we just pain differently. Like when it come back to us being free, like y'all are more, let's just do it, it's gonna happen. Allah, y'all know y'all kind of sometimes have more faith in Allah than we have, because we like, oh man, rent, we got bills, we got, what I'm saying, food, yeah, like y'all be like, don't worry about it, we just gonna pray about it and just do everything gonna work out. We like, hey, this, because it's a different, that's on us, because we have the weight of the universe on our shoulder, but we can't do what we want to do without the peace in the household. So it has to be the peace, and sometimes we just have to be humble. And if we look at each other as best friends, as soulmates, then we can have little disagreements without it turning into a full-blown argument.
Right.
We can have little mini debates without it, if we can stay humble in that process.
Right.
When we are being challenged about how we see something.
Right.
See, because it all starts from our perception.
Mhm.
What's your perception? So dealing with with the man, we got to keep the peace by watching how we say stuff. Because I'm more of a direct person, So, but I have learned, and being, from her dealing with my wife, that because I say stuff and it's direct, and she feel offended. So she's sensitive. She's sensitive. You know what I'm saying? Don't let the social live streams fool you, right? You know what I'm saying? She's sensitive, right? But I'm not. I might say something, but it's not like, oh, like I didn't mean that by it. You know what I'm saying? This is the way it came out, but it was nothing towards you to get upset about.
Right.
So I have to like, okay, this is my wife. She's sensitive. I had to maintenance, like the minister told us, maintenance, brothers. Go and look up the word maintenance and all that come with it. You know what I'm saying? So I had to be humble and just, all right, I can't, I got to tone down, like, because I'm, like I said, I'm just direct. So stuff just comes out, but it's not to the person. It's not to that. It's just how Allah fashioned me, how He cut me. I take it up with Him, but that's, what I'm saying, that's how we keep the peace, when we view each other in the proper perspective, and we think about what we're saying, what we're doing, and then at the same time we have to know what we like and don't like. And then if something comes out and she like, I don't really like this, you know what I'm saying? Now that the way she said it has to be properly for it to be received properly, it had to come out. And then me too, if I don't like this, it has to come out properly, proper time, and we can have a dialogue, a discussion about it, and then we can keep that peace and maintain the peace.
Praise.
Beautiful. Okay. Can you ask it again? Because there's some.
Mhm. How do you maintain peace in the marriage and contribute towards bringing peace to one another?
Holy Quran says, argue in the best of manners. So, so wow, what my husband said is right on. Um, it's definitely a two-way street. It's definitely in both moments. In a moment where he has said something to me that I don't like, over just over these few short years. What, we're going on 2 years.
2 years.
So going on 2 years, I have learned a lot, and my husband has helped me a lot in checking my emotions. Because even if I am rightfully offended, not just being a woman and being sensitive and going through this or going through that, I still have to be willing to rise above those emotions to um, properly respond. Rise, as we are taught, we rise above emotions into the thinking of God. So how I do that, man, prayer is everything. I mean, prayer will take you a long way, because when we are, and I mean sincere prayer to the God. I don't mean just, okay, I'm just gonna make sure I make my 5 prayers, and it's not a ritualistic thing.
Right.
So I have found myself, praying for myself to be better. That's one of those desire things. It's like, it's really hard when ego is involved, even for a woman. We still have an ego that we are striving to, inshallah, overcome. So when that thing comes up, it's real. So it's hard in that moment sometimes to realize, this is my ego. I need to stop and check it. So taking that to the prayer rug after the fact, where taking that to the prayer rug about helping to increase the desire to remove ego, period, because it is something that is detrimental to the marriage. So that, praying for myself, and then also for my husband, because at different developmental stages along this beautiful journey of marriage, we're going to be in different places. So where something may be easier for me, or what have you, I have to still be willing to meet my husband where he's at, and he has to be willing to meet me where I'm at, and we have to be able to respond, accordingly. So when it comes to adding peace to, when I think about me adding peace to my husband, sometimes, it's just about the growth of striving to learn the other person, you know, who he is as his own individual, not me trying to shape and mold him into what I think he's supposed to be, but asking Allah to help me, to use me as a tool, as a helpmeet, to fashion him into who Allah intends for him to be, not me. I'm just a,
Ooh, that's
I'm just a
important.
servant. Praise be to Allah. And really that's real. So understanding that role, what my role is as his wife, I'm here to help uphold this black man, not to tear him down. And so getting to know him, and learning of the things that he likes, learning him as a person, so that when he does say things like he mentioned earlier, I'm learning him to know that who he is as a person is just that he's direct. This is how he thinks. This is how he puts things together. So when he says something like this, it's coming from this thought process. This is just how he's been thinking his whole life. So I have to be willing to say, it's okay for me to accept what he is saying, and it really just boils down to rising above those emotions, because if he is saying something that is truthful, even if it's in a manner that I don't like, am I willing to stop and say, but is it true?
Right.
Can I get something from that? Can I stop and can I self-reflect? Everything does not require an immediate response. So keeping that in mind, keeping in the mind all of the good work that my husband does, and that lecture that the minister did at, it was at the, I think it was at the Muhammad University. It was years ago, and he made a reference to the couples to go home and write a list, of all the good things, to the bad things, and with all the good that my husband does, not just for me as his wife, not just for the children, but how dedicated and committed he is as a lost servant to help the Christ, the exalted Christ, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and the Messiah on the scene today, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I have to keep that in mind. He's the number one paper pusher in the 7th region. That's not lightweight. I don't take that lightly. I don't know what it's actually like to be out there during the pandemic. Right.
That's what my husband liked to say, during the pandemic.
Right. Maybe too. But I can't necessarily put myself in his shoes on that level. But when he says what it's like, I have to take that for face value, and I have to think on these things. Him being a CEO of a business that is not understood by the masses, that people, his passion and his drive is not understood by the masses. So I have to be softer. I have to be willing to be humble and be his peace, because he's out there not only, against the concrete, against the people, for the people, but the people are fighting him. You know what I'm saying? So he already has a lot. I have to keep these things in mind, even against my own needs, and I'm just going to close with the minister says it's about the man and the mission. That doesn't exclude the woman. She's included in that. And just understanding my role through patience, prayer, and study, and having that desire, I won't say it's easy, but it's doable. It's attainable. So,
yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. Y'all a beautiful couple.
Thank you. Praise be to Allah.
Both of y'all said so many things. There was one particular thing about Sister Yaterah that you said about how we may. I'm not gonna say exactly like you, but looking at the man that God wants your husband to be and not how you want him to be. And I have to go to prayer sometimes. I'm like, oh Allah, please help your son. And then I'm like, I mean, I have to watch myself. Then I'm like, oh Allah, please help me understand what you're doing with your son. Because it starts is with the ego in the prayer. You hear me? I'm talking about your son and get him together. But it's not, no, help me to understand how you're shaping him, and help me understand how I can help him. So, and help me understand how I need to be for him, because I know he looking at me too, like, get your daughter. So praise be to Allah. And then this transitions really well into our last segment for Come On. And Come On, we used to be like, come on, sis, but now we have a brother and sister, so come on. I don't know yet. But this segment is all about talking about challenges, and this leads into what you just spoke about, Sister Yaterah, about Forward Money Network. So could you, because it's misunderstood, could both of you or one of you tell us what Forward Money Network really is, and then we'll get into the last question.
That's all you, sir. That is all you, my husband.
It started back in 2017, and we actually had another name. We kept the logo though. So some people, I had one person that see the logo and was like, Forward X Money, but that's not. It's Forward Money. The X is the X in the world like that is the logo. And the gold represents the money, and forward represents obligatory and also represents independence. So we started it, and we had gold as money because that's what money is. And this is what was taught to us by the Most Honorable Muhammad, that he got from Master Prophet Muhammad, and that he and that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has been trying to wake us up and understand that cash and dollars is not money, that is currency, right? It's petty, is a medium of exchange, right? And we was in a system that was forming and shaping, bringing the medium of exchange into the world. So I wanted to give it a name, and I wanted to highlight where this information came from, because you had the people running around gold money now, Robert Kiyosaki, some other folks you see on YouTube or whatever. But nobody has been saying this longer than the two, the Christ and the Messiah. Nobody has been saying this longer than the Honorable Louis Farrakhan, the most Elijah Muhammad, right? So I was like, let's give it the credit to where it's supposed to go to. By us being in the nation, me being in the nation, being a student, and nobody has made an organization with the MACD name attached to it. You know, well, it have, but not a money system, though. Not that type of network where we have that opportunity for anybody that want to get involved in to experience the freedom lifestyle that the MACD brought for us. That's what he brought. So that's what Forward Money Network are all about. And we just started February the 2nd, Tuesday. We just launched Project Exodus 10,000. And what we're trying to do with the organization, we're trying to take it to 10,000 members, because we had a reset because we was in one company, and that went good for a long time. We got major benefits from it. You know what I'm saying? We can't make excuses for what didn't happen. But it fell apart during the pandemic, but it was a shift. So we shift companies. December the 1st, it was a major shift. So the bulk of our organization that we built up from the previous company is gone. It's not there. So we had to redid, start, and it's lovely. And it's even better now. It's even better, faster, easier, simpler to get it over. So Forward Money Network is not just about the money. It's about really educating the people about the science of business, the science of money, the science of banking, the science of warfare, the science of networking, the science of leverage. It's about those science, because we know that the enemy kept 3 science away from us, but that's just the main 3. But it's more science,
right,
to life and all this stuff. That's just the ones who got it, but the teachings got them all. So when we dealing with, in us in Forward Money, we wanted to be that arm, we wanted to be that brand that helps the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan get the word across to us that business is warfare. That's the whole theme of what we wanted to do, and that's what we're doing. That's what we desire to do. That's what our screens be about. That's what our broadcasts be about. That's what our mission is. Because when he did that in 2016, I still was locked up. But I got out and nobody had ran with it. So we hit a minister, we clapped and all that there. But no, when he said stuff, it's for us to go and put some action on it. It ain't just for that. So he said business and warfare, and had a whole lecture about it at Tennessee State University. Tennessee State University now, talking to the black youngsters in college. And me coming and it just matched so perfectly, because he did that at Tennessee State University, Nashville. That's the city. That's in the southern region. Memphis is in the central region, I think. They're not in the southern region, though. I know that. I think they're central, right? And I come home, I'm in the southern region. We can go and look at that lecture. You had the minister of Birmingham at that time, the student minister of Birmingham at the time, the captain, you had the brother. They all there. They heard it. But where's the action behind what he's saying? And so that's what we want to do. We strive to put action behind it. Like I said, nobody that I know of has brought this type of system and platform to the nation and branded the name, the MACD, Ford behind it, And, a lot of people, I have had people say, why you naming that? You using his name. Well, we use his name with everything we do. Folk got names out of everything. It all comes from the teachers, right? He brought us our names. Them ain't just his name. Yeah, they his name, but he's the I. He's the definite particle of the names, but he brought them for us, right? I'm just saying, he brought Muhammad. Where did Muhammad come from? We got Muhammad this, Muhammad that. You know what I'm saying? But we got a problem with somebody using Ford, MACD. What's up? It's a mind thing. But like the minister said, this generation, this Joshua generation that I am a part of, we have to take the nation to new heights.
That's right.
We have to do what is necessary for us to do, regardless on what, even some of the pioneers, how they look at, oh, that's cool and that is much love there. But we are the ones to take it to the next height because, stuff just not getting done. So that's what we are. That's what we strive to do. And that's what Forward Money Network is all about, educating the people about those sciences that the enemy kept away from them, and not just educating them, but showing them how they can get this leverage and build this leverage and learn how to tune up their mind about it and be all that they can be by being free and getting off the job. So we ain't just talking on YouTube and doing. We have that system for somebody to plug into and get free, and it's just a person thing, like we said with the beginning, making up, getting over the stuff that keeps us away from certain things that we want to do. So we have that system where we get paid, like we here now, we get paid talking to you. We get paid. So it's that type of. It's about leverage. It's leverage. It's about leverage. All right. So I'm gonna let my wife talk about it too.
Well, I know you two have to go, so can I just ask this final question?
Yeah.
Okay. So, how do you balance having a business and marriage with children?
That's heavy.
Because y'all not working for somebody else. Y'all are actually building a business together. So yeah.
Oh well, I'm gonna give a short answer to it, and then I can let my wife, give an answer. I'm gonna let you go first.
No, you can give your short answer.
Okay. Well, we don't have a mortar and brick business. We have a home-based business. It's online. It's digital. It's technology. So the technology is our friend. So it's not that we have a business where I got to go and open up a shop at 10 in the morning and this and the third. I got to be in there selling clothes. We don't have that. Not knocking those type of business, but that's not what we have.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Our business is the computer, Wi-Fi. This is our friend. You know what I'm saying? The phones. So that's why you see me. I see me looking down, looking at my phone because there's activities going on in our chat groups about with the business, with other business partners and stuff like that. So that's what we have. So it's easy to do that. Here, our daughter's right there. They right down on the floor right there. Watch TV. Why we doing this here, which is what we want to do. So it's simple when you have that type of business. But yes, it comes strained, and so I'm gonna talk to y'all, because I can be in the house all day, but she still say we ain't spending time together. You know what I'm saying? Like we're in the house all day. Like what do you mean? I only go out to the grocery store due to the pandemic. I'm the only one leaving. I only go out to the grocery store and to the push to find a call newspaper. There's no time I go anywhere. So on the days I don't go out with the paper, I'm in the house literally 24/7. We wake up together, we go to sleep together. We have a movie night like every night. Like, we don't have nowhere to go. I don't have nowhere to go. So we have a movie night every night, but I ain't spending time. You know what I'm saying? This is it.
Well, through study, we continue to grow in that area.
Don't we all?
Because
don't we all?
Because there's a difference. In being around somebody and spending time. I ain't spending time with the bookshelves because I walk past it, with the books on the shelf because we here in the same house. So, but he cracked himself up. But
my jaw's hurt right now because it's so funny to me. I can't wait till my husband watch this interview.
That's hilarious. And him saying that it's easy is another, from the husband, which is praise be to Allah, because that's kind of, it's our area, of course, but as he is really, he really heads the organization and the business. He puts most of the time, more of his time as it relates to, our time in the business. A lot of his time is heading things up. He's the one who is doing the live presentations for the people who is cultivating the team in general as we're moving forward, who, he has a lot of that, even though it is this, like you mentioned, it's internet, it's computer, it's phone. It's still, creativity, the inspiration for the team. A lot of that still has to go in it. A lot of that comes from him. So that allows me the time to do what I need to do with the girls, because as our 5-year-old is homeschooled, the scheduling, and this is something that is still being ironed out. We are still struggling through that of, obtaining a perfect schedule, where everything is set for, her schooling hours, where I'm able to get time in for, the growth of my, the aspects of the business that I bring to the table, um, along with, just everything that goes along with it, the cooking and the cleaning and things like that. But his willingness to understand it's so beautiful, because it's that cycle that you brought up in the beginning when you were mentioning, the lecture of the minister talking about the 1, the 0. Because in the beginning of our relationships and, marriage and etc., how I was willing to go through certain things as it related to me continuing to work. The expectation was not, oh, when we get married, I'm supposed to leave immediately. You need to have no, the willingness to do what needed to be done so we could get to the next level. And it's like full circle. Now we're here. So now I'm home, but now I have to fully adjust to home life, but as an entrepreneur, not as a I'm jobless and I ain't doing nothing. No, the work really began last year for me, in this aspect of now I have to be more disciplined. I have to be more attentive. I have to give and do for my children what's due to them, because Allah blessed me to give birth to them. However, that they belong to Him. So me growing more into the role of mother as teacher, um, it really, that humility aspect is there. Prayer is there, because I've had to be humble enough to ask Allah. First of all, I have to ask Allah, to help me do and understand what I need to do, and ask for help. So there's a lot of humility that has to that I had to grow into, and still am growing into, because this is not a do it yourself thing. The resources that I have gotten to help with the schooling for the girls, both were girls here, but really for the 5-year-old right now, came because I opened my mouth and said, you know what, I need help. I've never been a homeschool teacher. I don't know where to start. Yes, I love math. Yes, I love learning. But me and my daughter speak a different learning language, so I needed resources. I needed guidance. I need, these things. So the balance for home, marriage, and work, business rather, just again, it started with the desire to have these things. I want to have all these things in line. The study, the reaching out to the support groups to have these things, and then just the application of it. And then our marriage, we made some changes, but we had set, on a day-to-day basis, an hour that we would stop whatever we're doing, and we come together and we talk to each other, not about business, but whatever it was that we wanted to get off to each other, whatever it was that we had, whether it was, I was feeling this way about this, whatever we needed to communicate to each other. Again, that wasn't just business related. We could talk about the business, but the idea was for us to make that time to still feed into each other and feed into the marriage. So these are just different things as we get creative. And, like you mentioned, we do have our movie nights to continue to put into the bank of our marriage, so that we can have these, we're making these, we still have to make the deposits into the marriage so we can make the withdrawal. So I think
and we had a minister playing all the time.
All the time.
All the time. Like, that's all we play. We play the minister like all the time.
Yeah.
Children wake up, they hearing them, even what's she is, 11 months, she hear the minister, she just go to praying.
She go to praying.
We're like, no, he teaching, like he talking now, he not praying. But she know that's just, he the voice for prayer. She know that, she already know that already. And he the voice for prayer, and there she go. So
That's beautiful.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, this is perfect because we're about to go. So thank you two so much for your energy, your time, your spirit. You two are such a beautiful couple. Y'all really complement each other. So may Allah continue to bless your marriage and your family and your business. So thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Thank you for having us. We appreciate it. Let's do it again.
Yes, sir.